It is day 17 in Algebra 2, and it is Tuesday, September 2nd. And we are reviewing our different ways of solving systems of equations. We're preparing for the Unit 2 quiz this week. So the first method we're going to review is substitution. So think way back. This was like a week and a half ago we were doing substitution. And we will start with an example. Let's do negative 3x minus 3y equals 12 and y equals 5x minus 22. Okay. Now remember, substitution is the method where I am right off the bat going to have one equation that is rearranged so one variable is by itself. And this one is already by itself. I have y equals 5x minus 22. So just as a reminder, what we're going to want to do here is I'm going to see I have y by itself right here in my second equation, and in my first equation, I also have a y. So we are going to plug in 5x minus 22 for y, because right here it says y is the same thing as 5x minus 22. 5x minus 22 is the same thing as y. So let's rewrite that top equation, but instead of writing y, we're going to write 5x minus 22. So here's where I rewrite it. Negative 3x minus 3, and then I stop. This is where my y is. Instead of y, what am I writing?
5x minus 22.
Yes. 5x minus 22. And then I go back to this equation. I wrote negative 3x minus 3y. That's my y. Yes, I still need the rest of the equation, equals 12. So I've plugged in my value. So here, plug in. Once I've plugged in my y value, I now have an equation where I just have one variable. Now I have only x's, so we can solve for x. What do I need to do first? Distribute. Good. So I am going to distribute my 3. I've got negative 3 times 5x. Hi, Jean.
It'd be negative 15x.
Good. Negative 15x. And then I have negative 3 times negative 22.
Positive 66.
Positive 66. And really pay attention to your signs. Those two negatives cancel. Yes, yes. So now we just bring down the rest of the problem. Negative 3x minus 15x plus 66, and we still have equals 12. Okay, and I'm just going to make a note here that we distributed. So step 1 is we plugged it in. Step 2 is we distribute. Once I've plugged in that value, I've distributed I have this equation. What should I do at this point?
Combine your like terms.
Combine your like terms. Good. So I'm looking for numbers with the same variables.
Be negative 3x and negative 15x.
Good. Minus 3x minus 15x. These are like terms. So we're going to add them together and we'll get what?
Negative 18x.
Good. Negative 18x. So that's where we combine like terms. Okay. And I've combined them. We got to bring the rest of the equation down. Plus 66 equals 12. Now I just have what looks like a pretty regular equation, don't I? Negative 18x plus 66 equals 12. We're just going to solve this like normal. Good. We'll subtract 66 from both sides. That will cancel. Now 12 minus 66. Let's see. I'm getting negative 54. Perfect. And we'll bring down the rest. Hi, Bichelle.
Negative 5 by negative 18.
Good. Negative 18x equals negative 54. And then that's the last step. We'll just divide by negative 18.
Positive 3.
Nice, 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 nice. Okay, so that canceled. And we do get x equals
Positive 3.
positive 3. So we plugged in our y value, we distributed, we combined like terms, we solved for x. So we have an x value. This x value should work for both equations, but we don't just have x. We also have a y in both equations. So what can I do now that I know what x is to solve for y?
Plug the number in for the x.
Yes, we're just going to do the exact same thing as we did in step 1, but this time we don't have to plug in some crazy value. We can plug in 3 for x. Does it matter which equation we use? It doesn't, but I would recommend the one that already says y equals, because then you don't have to rearrange anything. You're trying to solve for y. So may as well use the one that's already solved for y. So step 5, I'm going to bring down that equation. Say plug in x and solve for y. So let's see, we have y equals 5x. Instead of x, what do we write?
3.
3. Minus 22. Okay, now what?
Distribute.
Same steps. You're literally just going to follow these steps all over again. We'll distribute. 5 times 3 is 15. Bring the rest down. And
Negative 7.
good. We're combining like terms basically here. Hello. So let's see. 15 minus 22. You said negative 7?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay, so X is 3, y is -7 as a coordinate.
Would be -7.
3, -7, x then y. Good. Very, very good. Okay, so that is just a quick run through of using the substitution method. Now I'll pause this and let everybody catch up to there in case you're writing notes. Okay, so that is substitution. Now let's look at elimination. And we'll start with simple, level 1. We'll do one of each type, just so we remember. Now, with elimination, this is where we are adding two equations together to try to get one of our variables to eliminate, to just kind of go away. We want them to cancel out. So here's what I ought to do. Instead of pulling up a million problems, let me grab the worksheet that we used, and I'll pull out one of the problems that we did not go over. Where is it? Okay. So, level 1, the simplest level. You don't have to multiply anything. You just add them together and your variables, one of them will magically eliminate. So, an example of this would be -6x plus y equals 2, and then +6x minus 4y equals 10. Will be level 1. So remember, the very first thing you'll do once you've got the problem written down is we are just going to treat this like one big addition problem. We will add everything together. So, step 1, add equations together. So, -6x plus 6x. They cancel. We eliminated the x's. Positive y minus 4y. Good, minus 3y. Always bring down your equal sign. 12. 2 plus 10 is 12. So once you've added them together, step 2 is just to solve for whatever variable you have left. So solve the remaining equation. So how would I solve for y here?
You divide by -3 on each side.
Yep, just divide by -3 on each side. Those -3's would cancel, and we'll get y equals 12 divided by -3 is
-4.
-4. Good. Now, every time that you do elimination, doesn't mean that you will always solve for y first or you'll always solve for x first. It just depends on which variable you get rid of in the first step. So make sure you pay attention to what you solved for. We solved for y here. We do still need to solve for x, don't we? So we have y. How do we solve for x?
And the number that you got for y on
Yes.
the problem.
Yes, you're just going to plug that value back in, just like with substitution. It's like we go right back to that method. So I am now in step 3 going to choose one of these equations.
The second equation, because that would make the second number positive since both are negative.
You could, and that is absolutely right. So Ella was saying, would it be better to use the second equation because -4 times y, -4, will make it a positive number, and then we'll have all positives. Yes, if you like working with positive numbers, that's the way to go. Will you get it wrong if you use the first equation, though? No, you can use either one. So I'm going to say plug in the value found. Either equation works. And when I write EQ, in case anyone doesn't catch this, this just means equation. It's just a long word, you know. So let's use the bottom one. And I'm just going to rewrite it. 6x minus 4. What am I writing instead of y? -4. Good. And this is the part where I see some people make mistakes. As you're copying your equation down, don't accidentally write part of the first equation and then part of the second one. Make sure when I write equal to 10, not 2. So be very careful. Double check your work. Okay, so I plugged that in. And these next few steps are going to start to feel really familiar because what you'll notice, I'm going to pull out this page we just wrote. What you'll notice is that after you plug in something, you're always going to follow the same steps. Plug in, distribute, combine like terms, solve. Every time you follow those same steps. So I plugged it in. What do I do next? You distribute. Yes, yes. So step 4, distribute. Okay, so -4 and +4, or sorry, both -4s, you said will give us +16. And I'll bring down the rest. 6x plus 16 equals 10. And combine like terms would be the next step, but we don't have any. So we're just solving. Yeah, exactly. We're just gonna solve it like normal. Uh-huh. So here I'm gonna write solve -16. Yes, 10 minus 16 is -6. Bring. Good. 6x equals -6. Divide by 6.
It'll be -1.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Okay. I have x, I have y. What is my coordinate?
-1, -4.
Yes. -1, -4. X and y. Very good. So that is level 1 elimination. You just add the equations together. You solve for one of your variables. You plug it back in and you solve again. Okay. And I will let you guys get get that copied down if you are copying any notes for this. And before we do anything else, do we have any questions about this first level for elimination, just the first level?
The first level, simple.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Level 2, we just add one more step, really. We just got to multiply an equation. I'm going to go ahead and pause this, let you guys copy that down if you are doing that. Okay, so that was level 1 elimination where we just add them together. Let's do a level 2. What is this, page 3? Yeah. Okay. Now we're looking at level 2. And for level 2, we have to multiply one equation. So, an example of this one, let's do, I'll try to fit a little more on this. We'll see. We'll see. Negative 5x plus 8y equals 9. And then negative 10x plus 2y equals negative 24. Now, with the last problem in level 1, we didn't have to multiply one equation because our variables, we already had one pair of variables that canceled out. And to make them cancel, we need them to have the same number, but different signs, right? One positive and one negative. So I'm looking at each of my variables. I have, for the first equation, negative 5x, negative 10x. Then I have positive 8y, positive 2y. Luckily, both of these pairs are numbers that go nicely into each other. What are some ideas we might have for what we could do here to get one of our variables to cancel? Now, it has been a long weekend, and I'm happy to do more of a guided for the level 2. Do you guys want me to guide you through this a little more first? Okay, okay. So here's the 2 things I'm thinking. I have a couple of ideas, and so I'm going to grab a sticky note so that my paper doesn't get too messy. So here's idea number 1. I could get my x's to match. Maybe I could make the positive 10x be on top. So if I have negative 5x and I want it to become positive 10x, what would I multiply by?
By 2. The second.
By 2. So negative 5 times 2 would be negative 10. How do I make it positive 10? By negative 2. So here's the first idea. I could take this first equation, negative 5x plus 8y, equals 9. And I'm going to rewrite my second one too. Negative 10x plus 2y equals negative 24. And we could multiply times negative 2. Right? And this is where we distribute. And that would change our equation to negative 2 times negative 5x. What does that become?
Positive 10x.
Positive 10x. Negative 2 times positive 8y.
Negative 8.
Negative 16.
Negative 6.
Yes, negative 16y. Negative 2 times positive 9. Yes, negative 18. And then when I add my equations together, my x's cancel. So that's my first idea. Yeah, and let's see what happened. You said minus 14y equals, let's see.
Negative 14.
Yes, negative 14y, and then negative 24 plus negative 18.
Negative 6.
What do you say?
No.
Ooh, it's going to be 8 plus 4 is, you said, say it again, Jean. 48? Oh, 42. You're right. 42, negative 42. There you go. Okay. And then we would solve for y.
Multiply by minus 1.
Or we could do that first. I know Jean likes to do this trick. Take it times negative 1. You don't have to do this, but it does make everything positive if you like that better. Yes, then we divide by 14. And we get y equals 3. So that's the first idea we could do. The other idea, I'm going to move this one over so that I can write without getting my hand in the way. That way you guys can still see it.
You don't want us to write though?
Yes, you can. There are multiple ways to do this correctly. And what I'm showing you isn't even all of the ways. I could multiply by an infinite number of things and it could still work. Algebra 2 is tricky. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to rewrite that problem one more time. Okay. So in my first idea, we canceled the x's. So I'm going to write that. Eliminate x. And then we solved for y. In the second idea, let's eliminate the y's. So I'm looking at my y values. Positive 8y, positive 2y. How could I make these match, but be opposite? How could I make them cancel out? Yes, Ella. We could multiply the bottom equation by negative 4. Because negative 4 times positive 2 is negative 8. And then we would have positive 8y, negative 8y. They would cancel. So just a quick run through of what would happen here.
Negative 4 by negative 10.
Negative 4 times negative 10. Say that.
Is that what it is? Negative 4?
Yes, negative 4. Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me get you one. All right, so negative 4 times negative 10x is
Positive 40.
positive 40x. Negative 4 times positive 2, negative 8y equals negative 24 times negative 4.
Positive 96.
Positive 96. You're just going to add those two equations together from there. Same steps as before. Okay. Okay. Yes, Bichelle.
Where do you get that -4?
Where did I get the -4? So let's talk about it. I got -4 because I'm looking at 8y and 2y. 8y, 2y. I want 2 to become -8y. 2 times what equals -8? Well, 2 times -4 equals -8. So another way that we can do this, I think I was showing you guys last week, is if you're not sure what number to multiply, think about the number that you want. I want -8y so that these can cancel, right? But I have +2y. So what do I need to multiply? 2 times what equals -8? You can do it like an equation if you want. Well, divide by 2. I get the question mark by itself. -8 divided by 2 is -4. So that -4 is the number I multiply here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So we're just trying to figure out what can I multiply so that these are the same number, different sign. Same number, one positive, one negative. That way when I add them together, they cancel. So I would have -5x plus 40x. That's 35x. 8y minus 8y, cancel, equals 9 plus 96, 105. And then we solve for x this way.
Your x equals 3.
X equals 3. There you go. Now, if you really wanted to, you could do the multiplication thing twice, and now you have your x and your y. But this is just to show that you can eliminate either one first. You can do the x's or you can do the y's. You can do them both, like we did here. What I normally do is I solve for one, and then I plug that back in to solve for the other. So I'm going to write a more official work written out here. I'll put that there. And let's see. Which one should we write down as the official? I'm kind of thinking eliminate x just because it's the first number I see. I don't know. So I'm going to write my work out here just so that we have kind of a record of it. We're going to multiply one equation. So I'm going to multiply this one. I'm going to get my -5 to turn into +10. So I multiply by -2. -2 times -5, +10x. And I'm just rewriting what we've done. -2 times +8y.
-16.
Good, that's that -16y. And then -2 times +9, that was our -18. Once you've done that, it's the same steps as the problem we did just before this for level 1. You just add them together. Is anybody still looking at these sticky notes? Can I move them? Okay, I'm going to move them and I'm going to write down kind of the official steps. So step 1 is we chose a variable to eliminate. And then you want to multiply the equation that will cause it to eliminate. Okay. Step 2, add the equations together. Now, guys, if you don't want to be writing all these steps out, we have written these steps before. They should be in your notes from far back. So, right, hey, if you like writing, good. I like writing too. Okay, so now we're at step 2. Let's add them together. My 10s with x's, they cancel. And we actually already did this work. So I'm going to just, yeah, we got that negative 14y. Negative 42. Yes, and we got y equals 3. Okay. Yeah. So once you've added your equations together and then we've solved for one variable, what do I do next?
Just plug in the number you got for free.
Yes.
One of the problems, and then you just solve it.
Perfect. So you're just going to do the same thing as before. Plug in the value you found. And again, either equation will work. It does not matter which. So let's see. I think I want to use the second equation just because the y has a smaller number on it. You can use the first one. Either one will work. But that's just what I'm feeling. Negative 10x plus 2. I'm not going to write y. I'm going to write 3. Good. Equals negative 24. And then, of course, after you plug in, you got to distribute. Combine any like terms, solve, all the same steps. Okay. And when I distribute, what do I get in my problem?
Be positive.
Positive 6. And I'll bring the rest down. Minus 10x plus 6 equals negative 24. After that, we're just going to solve this like normal, right? We're just going to solve it. Okay, so what would my next step be in solving?
Subtract 6 on both sides.
Good. Subtract 6 on both sides. Get negative 10x equals
Negative 30.
negative 30. Good.
You just divide by negative 2 on each side.
Perfect. Divide by negative 10 on each side. And we'll get x equals
Positive 3.
positive 3. Very good. So, what is our coordinate?
3, 3.
3, 3. Good. Okay, that is level 2. That is level 2. And the way that your quiz will be set up is it's going to be really similar to like what we're doing right now. You're going to have probably 2 substitution problems, 2 level 1s, 2 level 2s, 2 level 3s. And that'll be about it, other than the graphing, which we will review as well. Okay, so I'm going to pause this, let you guys finish writing if you are doing that, and then we'll look at a level 3. All right. Can I move to level 3, or does anyone need more time to write? If you do, you still writing? Okay, take your time. Take your time. Oh, you're done. Okay. Anybody else need more time? Okay, we will go ahead and look at the 3rd level. See, and now we're going to multiply both equations. And before we start this, I don't think I took attendance. I need to do that before people leave, or I'll still get marked absent. Okay, so now we'll do an example of elimination level 3. And even though with this level you are multiplying both equations and it's technically a little bit more work, I think some people find that this one can take a little bit less brain power because you're not having to think of which numbers to multiply by to get it to match. You just multiply them by each other. Let me wait and you'll see. Level 3. Multiply both equations. Okay. So let's use this problem. Pull one out that we have not done yet. How about negative 2x plus 4y equals negative 20 and negative 7x minus 5y equals 25. So to get one of our variables to cancel, to eliminate one of the pairs, there's not really a great way to multiply just one equation unless we use decimals or fractions. So we need to multiply both. Any ideas? Or do we just need a bigger view today? I'll let you guys look at it and think for a second.
Is this what we plug the numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. You just got to choose, am I going to do X or am I going to do Y? And I'll go ahead and say our step 1 is going to be decide if you want to eliminate X or if you want to eliminate Y. You can always do either one. Either one is fine. Decide to eliminate X or Y. You can do either one. So let's see. Does anyone have a preference? Do we want to eliminate the X's or the Y's? The X's? Yeah, let's do that. Let's eliminate the X's. So if we decide to eliminate the X's, remember I need my X's to have the same number and different signs. So what we could do is, why don't we just multiply the equations by the opposite numbers? What if I do the 2 times 7 and the 7 times 2? They'll both be 14, right? So that should work. Now there's only one thing that we need to be careful of. If I multiply my top equation by 7, my bottom equation by 2, I'm still going to have both negative 14x, which won't cancel. I need one to have an opposite sign, right? One must be positive, one must be negative. What could I do to fix that? Yes.
Put the 4 on the bottom and multiply it.
The 4 on the bottom.
Yeah, like, multiply that, the bottom equation by 4.
Oh, are you looking at the y's? Okay, we were talking about the x's, but we could talk about the y's too next. I was asking if we did -2 and -7, since these have the same sign, what would I have to do to make one of them different?
Multiply by a negative.
Yeah, just multiply it by a negative, and it won't matter which one. Either one will work. This is one where the y's actually would be easier to cancel. But let's continue with the x's. So if we're eliminating x, I'm going to use -7 for my top one. What should I use for my bottom?
Negative 2, yeah.
I could use -2. Now, if I do that, let's see, -7 times -2, what is that? That's positive 14. What about -2 times -7? Also positive 14. If I have two positive 14x's, will they cancel? No. So what do I need to do? You said it a minute ago, Melena.
Multiply?
Either multiply. Well, we are multiplying here, yes.
Okay, take off the negative.
Yeah, let's take off one of the negatives because we want opposite signs. If your numbers start with the same sign like they do here, if you multiply them by the same sign again, you're going to have the same sign at the end. You're not going to cancel. So to make it cancel, change one of the signs. So now we can multiply and they'll cancel. -7 times -2 is positive 14x. How about -7 times positive 4y?
Negative 28.
Good. Negative 28y. Negative 7 times negative 20.
40.
140. Good. Okay, now we'll do the same thing with the bottom equation, but remember, we're going to multiply now by positive 2. So positive 2 times negative 7 is negative 14x. And look, that's exactly what we wanted. Our x's will cancel. Now 2 times negative 5y. Negative 10y. Good. Equals positive 2 times 25. It's 50. Good, good. Okay. So step 2 is we multiplied both equations. Now, step 3, we go back to the same steps from level 1. To eliminate, we add together. I just wrote the third step is we're going to add the equations together to eliminate one variable. And I'll wait for everybody to be ready to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start writing out my third step here. First, I add my x's. I have positive 14x plus negative 14x.
Yes.
Cancel. Okay, now negative 28y plus negative 10y. Good, negative 38y equals 190. And
Now, do we plug this into the next?
have I solved for y yet?
No.
And no, so we got to solve for y first. That's okay. So what do I need to do next? Negative 38, we'll divide it. Good. Because I want to get y by itself. That last step, yeah, don't forget it. Divide by negative 38 on both sides, which gets rid of it. So I have y equals, and let's see. I got negative 5. Did everybody else get that? That already worked good. Good, yay. Now, Rhonda, tell me what you'll do next.
I can choose either equation,
Uh-huh.
and instead of it being just y is gonna be negative 5.
Yes, 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 that's perfect. So now we're plugging this in.
Plus 4 times negative 5 equals negative 20.
You used the top one, right?
Yeah.
I think you did. Sorry, I was writing this. Plug in the value you found. Either equation works. So I'm going to rewrite that top one. Negative 2x plus 4 instead of y, -5 equals -20. So I've plugged in my y value. What do I do after I plug something in? Distribute. Yes, which is just multiplying. Okay, so 4 times -5, -20. And bring everything else down. Good. -2x minus 20 equals -20. Yes, 0 is a number. We always forget. Because here's the next step, and I'm sure you're not the only one that's going to have that same thought. What will I do next? Add 20, and then you're going to see an issue.
Oh, Lord.
But it's really not an issue. It's just going to be, it'll look uncomfortable. -20 plus 20, those cancel. -20 plus 20, do these cancel? No. What? 0! Guys, 0 is a number. It is a number. I know it's going to be tempting to cross that off, but then I would just have -2x, and I don't know what x is. So -20 plus 20 is 0. Bring down the rest equals -2x. And -2 times what equals 0? 0. Time you have something that's equal to 0, and it's just a number times something, that something has to be 0. So I'm going to get x equals 0. Okay. What's my coordinate? 0, -5. Good. This would be like a y-intercept. Not too bad, guys. Okay, that is level 3. And this is the end of our written work. This is the end of solving these by hand. The last method we'll review quickly. And if you were not here on Thursday, that's when we reviewed it. Make sure you check your folder because I put a little guide in there that looks like this. And it's going to show you how to do it. So we'll go over that. After we go over the graphing, the rest of class, what it will be is I will give a big worksheet of tons of these problems to practice. And then if you feel like you want practice, you are welcome to stay in here, work with your classmates, work with me one-on-one, ask questions. And that's really going to be it. If you do feel good about everything and you're like, I got this, then you will be allowed to go. But I do encourage you to stay if you feel that you need a little extra practice. But I'm going to leave that up to you guys. So before we do the very last method, do we have any questions about this? Okay, let's look at graphing. Last method. So This is the last thing. Day 17 continued. And so far, this has been, I think, everyone's favorite. Just because it's, you don't have to think so hard about it. So this is graphing. So we'll just review those steps. Solve by graphing. So I'm just going to grab one of the examples off of here. And even if you've already done this worksheet, I will still encourage you, go ahead and type these in again. Not all of them, just at least do one and make sure that you get the right answer so that, you know, we feel good about it because it's easy to forget. So if you do not have this worksheet, raise your hand and I can get you one. Does everybody have this? Anybody need this? Okay, so on the bottom of this worksheet, I wrote you a little guide. First, you'll want a yellow calculator. You cannot do this without a yellow calculator. So we're going to turn it on, clear it out.
Yes, turn it on.
Yes, turn it on first. Now, we're going to follow these steps. The first thing I do is I push y equals. That button is right here. Y equals. And you will see that there are lots of Y1, Y2, Y3, Y4, all the way down. If there is something typed in, clear it out. We'll use number 8 as our first example. So, has everyone got to this screen? Everyone got Y equals screen? Okay. Once you are there, you are just going to type in both equations. So, on number 8, I have negative x, so I'm going to use my negative sign. And here's how you type x. Right here, it says xt theta n. When you click that button, it gives you x. So it's this button right here. So I have negative x minus 2. Make sure you use the minus sign, 2. So I should have negative x minus 2. Then I'm going to arrow down, type the next equation, negative 6x plus 3. Once you have both equations typed in, I hit y equals, I typed both equations. Then I push the graph button. Let me make this clear. So graph is right here. Push that. Now, as you can see, my graph isn't showing much. If something like this happens, that means your window is wrong. Look how wrong my window is. It should be negative 10, 10. Let's see. Okay, now I go to graph. There we go. Your graph should look like this. Does everybody have this screen? Good. So, do you have that? No. No, what does yours look like? Can I see yours? Oh, you're still doing the equation. Okay, so y equals negative x, and this is the x, minus 2, and then arrow down, negative 6x plus 3. Okay, after you type both of them in, you push graph. This is graph, top right hand, and then it should take you here. After graph, second button, so the blue button, and then trace, which is next to graph right here. Trace. Then scroll down to 5, intersect. So 5, I can even just push number 5. Okay? It will ask first curve, hit enter.
I must have missed something, because I don't have it.
Okay, I'll go back on yours. As soon as I hit enter 3 times, I'll go back through it. Second curve, hit enter. Guess, hit enter. There is your x value. There is your y value. X equals 1, y equals -3. And then it solves it for you instantly. To help you remember these steps, this page should be in your folder. You can use this on your quiz. This will help you. I'm going to run through it one more time. Back to y equals. I typed in both equations. Thumbs up when you're to that point. Good, good. Okay. Once you've typed in both equations, the next step is just to click graph. Graph is the top button right here under the screen to the right. And then you should see 2 lines. And everybody sees that? Thumbs up when you got that? Good. Okay. Once you have the graph screen, the next thing you do is follow these steps. Second, trace, 5. So here's second, trace is right next to graph. And then hit number. Yes, you're going to hit the second button, the blue button. And then trace, which is right here next to graph.
Okay, that's what I.
Yes, and then number 5. You can either arrow down to 5 or you can literally just push number 5. And then it will ask you the 3 questions. First curve, just hit enter. Second curve, just hit enter. Guess, hit enter. And it's giving you the intersection. Whenever you have 2 lines on a graph, and you see that as a system of equations, the answer to the system of equations is where the lines cross. So the answer to this system of equations, my x is 1, my y is -3. So as long as you can follow the steps to push all these buttons, that's all you got to do. You don't have to do any crazy math. It's just following those steps. So we can do as many of these as you want. If you were not here Thursday and you did not fill this sheet out, I would like for you to make sure you get all of these before you go, just so that I know you know how to do it. And if you need help, I am here always, always. But this is essential. I mean, this is the review today, guys. This is everything that your quiz will be over on Thursday. Tomorrow we will have a practice quiz. But for the rest of today, if you feel good about this, you are free to go. If you would like to stay and get more help and more practice, please stay. And I'm going to create some practice problems for everybody. But there is really no exit ticket today. It's just going to be the practice quiz tomorrow and the quiz on Thursday. So that is all.